what do we know about the formation of bias at the very early stages of child development? And what do you have any advice for parents or for educators of young children for how we should be thinking about this problem? It's not going to affect the people who are making decisions about hiring today,
Right.
but in the long term.
Yeah, thanks for that question. So we, part of the issue, right, is that my child is growing up in my household, but also in the same world that we all are exposed to, and kind of is confronting the same issues and seeing the same things, and sort of taking in the different ways in which social groups are positioned in the world and so forth, and so that starts to affect them. And the issue, and this is kind of getting back to the colorblind thing, is that, as parents and all of that, we don't want to just not talk about that with our children, or to teach our children not to talk about it, because they're noticing all this stuff that then they're barred from actually really fully engaging, and so then they're left on their own, right, to work it all out. And I just I don't feel like that protects them. I feel like it exposes them in a way to be more vulnerable to bias than they would be otherwise. So the colorblindness is not the strategy that is should be the primary strategy that people use. I talk about this a little bit in the book, but I feel like talking to our children about race sort of frequently and early, and to be comfortable with those discussions, and to get them to be thoughtful about it. Like, children are incredibly thoughtful and insightful about these kinds of things when given permission to to kind of work it out. I can tell a really quick story. When my son was at elementary school, the principal asked me to come in to address the whole school about my research. And I thought, whoa, I didn't want to go into school, because at the time it was 2014, and there were protests going on all over the country around police brutality and all of this, and I was at the time trying to work. That was at the beginning of my work with Oakland on the reform efforts and so forth. And I just I don't want to go into a school and have conversation with kindergartners about what I do. I just felt like that wasn't right, and so I was worried about it and trying to get out of it. But I knew I had to go in, right? Because when as a parent you're supposed to contribute. So I couldn't say, well, I don't know anything about that yet. So then one day I was riding with my son. I was taking him to school. He's in the back seat, and I'm listening to NPR. And on NPR, they were talking about the Baltimore situation, and there was protesting there because of the Freddie Gray situation. So I'm listening to it, trying to take in the news, and then all of a sudden I hear this little voice from the back of the car saying, "Mommy, why is Baltimore on fire?" And I thought, wow, just because I'm uncomfortable having this conversation with my kid doesn't mean that my kid isn't absorbing all this. And what does it mean when they're left on their own to do that and making sense of, of this? So I did a 180, immediately when I heard that question. I was raring to go into school and talk about it. And I was surprised. Kindergartners actually had something to say about this. I asked them, well, why do you think people are protesting? They're all raising their hand. Everybody wanted to engage, the whole school. I was so impressed that I called the principal or emailed him the day after and said, hey, I want to come back and just talk to the fifth graders. And so I went and I just talked to the fifth graders. And you wouldn't believe, they were so sophisticated. We had this sophisticated conversation about body-worn cameras and why they were good and what the issues could be. Incredibly sophisticated. Yeah. And they stayed in from recess to finish this conversation. You're a parent, that's a big deal.
That rarely happens. That's a big deal.
So yeah, we don't give them enough credit.
Right.
So I think that's one of the ways in which we can, help our children is to encourage those discussions and encourage the reflection on these issues.